Hey folks, Chris Rich, welcome back to the channel. You bet. I've been fly fishing Arizona for over 45 years. In this video, I'm going to take you on an epic journey to Arizona's most remote trout stream. It's in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. It's called Tapeats Creek. It can be accessed from the Bill Hall trailhead off of the North Rim. It's a 10.5-mile journey over which you'll drop 5,000 feet to get to the canyon floor, which means you'll have to travel 10.5 miles and gain 5,000 feet to get out. The climbing takes place over 3 major sections. In this video, I'm going to give you a trail description. I'm also going to give you some safety precautions that I highly recommend you consider. I'm also going to share a little bit about how we structured our adventure and what we did. We got to the top of the North Rim on a Wednesday evening. We slept there near the trailhead so that we could get an early start and beat the heat of the summer day. We did this on Memorial Day weekend 2022. I also did this adventure 2 years ago on the same weekend. You got to be careful when you get down there. There are times that the creek is flowing high and it's not passable. So this seemed to be a good time to get down there. You could tell where the creek had dropped over just the last few weeks. I used 2 iPhone apps to get me down on this adventure. I used Onyx Hunt for a trail guide, and I used All Trails to get me to the Bill Hall trailhead. Now, the Bill Hall trailhead shares a parking lot with the Monument Point trailhead. You'll know that you're on the right trail because it says the Bill Hall trailhead. As you begin on the trail, you're going to meander above the rim in country that looks just like this. You're going to go about 3/4 of a mile. You're going to do a drop off at Monument Point. It's real steep and it's real loose rock. It's not a fun section to come out. When you are going down or coming out, it's very precarious. Loose rock, scramble, and sometimes hand over hand. You're going to meander below the rim for a while. You'll hit the next drop off. It starts with a little bit of a scale of a wall, not too bad. Then you'll hit 25 to 30 switchbacks. You'll level off. It'll take you down to the Bill Hall Indian Hollow intersection. At this sign, you're going to take a left-hand turn. You will then be on the Esplanade. During this section, which is relatively flat, you'll need to follow kerns to stay on the trail. It's not too hard to do, but you'll have to pay attention and look around. There's plenty of places on the Esplanade to get out of the sun, catch a break, and cache water. We're standing now at the top of the red wall, getting ready to drop down. That's where we happen to cache our water. We cached a gallon of water each for the journey out. Very common to have this happen. Sometimes people will cache water in 2 sections along the Esplanade. There's a look at what the red wall looks like from the Onyx app. It's real steep and it's a real rough trail. It's going to drop you down into Surprise Valley. You'll hit the Deer Creek intersection. You're going to want to stay to the left and go through Surprise Valley. You do not want to get caught in Surprise Valley in the heat of a summer day. I had a friend do this hike a few days before I did. He succumbed to the summer heat, had heat exhaustion. Luckily, he had a satellite communication system, which I highly recommend for this trip. He was able to SOS and get rescued by the national park. At the end of Surprise Valley, you'll be looking down at Thunder River. From there, you've got about a 500-foot drop to get down to the river. The water is cold and very refreshing. From there, you've still got about a 1,000-foot drop along some real narrow trails to get down to the bottom of Tapeats Creek. You'll take a right-hand turn, travel just a little ways further. You'll be at the Upper Tapeats campground. That's where we set up camp. We couldn't wait to get in the water, fish, and cool off. We were down there for 2.5 days. The first half a day, we fished the creek right around camp. There was plenty of places to catch fish, plenty of places to get in the creek, cool off, and catch some of those wild Tepeets Creek brink. There are fish all along the creek, and they're real eager to eat anything you put in front of them. The second day, we traveled down another precarious trail to the mouth of Tapeats Creek and the Colorado River. A lot of places in this section of trail, you want to be real cautious and watch your step. If you misstep, you're going to fall a long ways and you're probably not going to come back. It's real steep, it's real rough. This is not a trail for the faint of heart, folks. If you're afraid of heights, you might not want to be on this trail. Hey, look at that. There's the Colorado River and Tapeats Rapid. Now to get down there, you're going to have some switchbacks, real steep switchbacks, real rugged trail to get down. You're going to drop about 1,000 feet to get down there. It's a beautiful place to spend the day, and we spent most of the second day at the mouth, just up from the mouth. This is what that creek looked like in there. Caught a lot of wild rainbows. We caught a wild brown trout in there. We ran into a lot of chub in the water. It looked like they were in some sort of spawning activity. You're going to see that there in just a second. But there again, wild Tepeets Creek rainbow. Most of them in the 6 to 10 inch range. A few of them were above that. Now if you look real close off to the left there, you can see all those, look at those chub. They're stacked up in there. They were all over near the mouth of the creek and the river. They weren't too worried that we were there. They were chewed up like they were in some sort of spawning activity. Fantastic, fantastic place to spend the day. Look at this, a wooden drift boat coming down the Colorado, hitting Tapeats Rapid. I've heard about these guys doing it. I wasn't sure it was possible, but here we are seeing it with our own two eyes. I'm glad I'm not the skipper of that boat. Watch them getting tossed around in that rapid right there. And I'm sure that's not the roughest rapid that they're going to see on their journey down the Colorado River. Fantastic place to spend the day. We did run into one rattlesnake down here at the bottom. During our entire trip, we ran into 3 total rattlesnakes. Now this is one of the rainbows I caught in the Colorado River. He was a little bit bigger, about a 15, 16 inch rainbow. Real healthy, colored up, real pretty Colorado River rainbow. Look at this. This one took the dropper, hopper dropper setup. He happened to take the dropper. On the journey back up to camp, ran into this fella. He wasn't sure I was there, saw me, jumped up out of the way, didn't run too far, kind of curious about what I was doing there. I was curious about him. On day 2, we headed up the creek towards the springs that forms Tapeats Creek. It shoots out of the wall just like Thunder River does. We didn't make it all the way to the top. We traveled up till late in the day. We stopped catching fish at around 2, 3 o'clock and said, hey, let's go ahead and head on back. Now folks, we traveled down in the morning. We left at 5 a.m. We got down at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. On the journey out, we're going to be hiking up, we're going to be climbing. So what we decided to do was to leave at 5 o'clock after we'd been down there for 2.5 days, and we hiked through the night. We were able to beat the heat. We didn't have the sun beating on us, and it made a real significant difference. Real exciting for us when we got to the top of the red wall and we had that extra water. Folks, again, it's a precaution that you need to take. You need to plan on caching water. This is probably not a journey that you can take in the winter if there's snow or ice on the trail. Some of the trail is impassable. Hey folks, this might be one of the prettiest trout holes in all of Arizona. We got up there, Adam threw a woolly booger in there, drug out 4 or 5 of those rainbows right out of that hole. Most of the fish were caught on either a woolly booger or a foam hopper dropper setup. These fish were real eager to eat anything that you threw in front of them. Now I took a 3-weight 7-foot rod down. Adam had an 8.5-foot 4-weight rod. Both of them seemed to work. I like the 7.5-foot. Some of these quarters and some of the places you're fishing are real tight. Sometimes you're doing a bow and arrow technique to get that fly into where you want it to. But again, the fish are real eager. They're hungry. They're beautiful. It's an epic adventure. It's not one to be taken lightly. We ran into 3 rattlesnakes. We had to deal with some heat. We were well prepared for it. Folks, you do not want to take this adventure lightly. You want to make sure that you avoid the winter. Any snow or ice on the trail, some of the trail is going to be impassable. If you had rain on parts of the trail, it'd be dangerous to be on. You want to make sure that you avoid the summer heat. You've got plenty of water and nutrition. Folks, if it's an adventure that you'd like to take on and you'd like some more advice or some comments from me or have a discussion, shoot me a comment in the comment section. I'd be happy to discuss it with you. I appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit subscribe and share it with a friend. I'll see you on the next video.